In this episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief, I sit down with both the creator as well as the publisher of Duels of Cartisora, 2 players, 6 warriors. So hang on until after Kickstarter Corner so you can find out a little bit more about this interesting take on War of the Card game in a fantasy theme. While it's not necessarily one of the prime sponsors, make sure you go ahead and check out our Kickstarter that's still going to help us with Getting Geeky with Game Relief podcast season number 3. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly being powered by Heroes and Treasure, Darkness and Light campaign. The popular Heroes and Treasures family RPG expands with new maps, enemies, and treasures. Play it with kids 4 years old and up, even teens. If you have a hard time like myself getting into a new game, especially a role-playing game, then this is definitely for you and your kids. Check out their campaign that'll be on Kickstarter through the 12th of March. If we're lucky, we'll be able to bring on the creator or some of his playtesters to talk all about it. But definitely check out Heroes and Treasure, Darkness and Light campaign on Kickstarter through the 12th of March. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly being powered by Dark Naga, Haunting of Hastur, Hardback 5e and OSR. It's the Hardback Color Omnibus edition of the Haunting of Hastur modules Dark Naga 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with VTT maps and extras. They recently reached their funding goal, and there's still 6 more days to check this one out, as it'll be on Kickstarter through Sunday, the 17th of February. So definitely check out Dark Naga, Haunting of Hastur, Hardback 5e, and OSR. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is also proudly being powered by 9 Lives, a card game for cat lovers, cat haters, and cat neutral people. Even dog people will love it. Find out a little bit more about it in our Kickstarter Corner. But this project will be on Kickstarter through the 3rd of March, so check out 9 Lives.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Welcome to Getting Geeky with Game Relief. So glad you guys can make it. We've got a couple of games or game products on Kickstarter Corner, and then we'll dive right into the meat of the podcast, our interview with Richard from Analog Game Studios and the designer of their latest and greatest game.
What is this place? What is it doing here in the Leaves computer? Oh, it's Kickstarter Corner with the Leaves.
So, while you guys were sleeping, a new game launched to Kickstarter. Well, not necessarily a game. It's Incoming Transmission, CoOp Deduction Boardgame plus app. That's right, you may have seen an Incoming Transmission on Kickstarter a while back ago. I know I did, as well as I got the lucky opportunity to play this game at my game group. It was a pretty fun game. But now my fearless leader of game group won't have to go ahead and be the AI or the person telling us what to do without telling us, if that makes sense. It's now got an app for that. So that's pretty cool. The compact size cooperative deduction game for 2 players or a group is now app enhanced. App is not required to play the game, so I guess my fearless leader could still run the game for us. But why not use an app for that? It'll be on Kickstarter through Tuesday, the 26th of February. So if you like fun games, and you know my favorite part of this is I love the box. It reminds me of a Super Nintendo box. Even just for the box, I would go ahead and back this, but the game is very fun as well. So definitely check out Incoming Transmission CoOp Deduction Boardgame plus app on Kickstarter currently. You know, Valentine's Day is upon us. That's right. It will be in 2 days, I believe this Thursday. But before then, why not show your companion or lover or future lovers in the future by checking out the Love Me Gamer Valentine's Day custom dice set by Riot Dice. That's right, get 3 custom dice sets to all the lovers because love is all you need. And if you need a little bit more during the backer survey, make sure you enter the code LEAFLOVE and you'll get extra dice. Let them know Getting Geeky with GamerLeaf sent you. But make sure you go ahead and check out Love Me Gamer Valentine's Day custom dice set by Riot Dice before Valentine's Day, as this project goes till very early in the morning on Friday the 15th of February, and you don't want to be left in the dust. I know love is all you need, but why not get some Love Me Gamer dice by Riot Dice? This game actually launches to Kickstarter tomorrow, or actually it's a mini expansion. If you listened to our episode on Saturday, even if you didn't, I encourage you to go back and listen so you can find out more about it and be prepared when Theosis Godslayer mini expansion launches to Kickstarter. Well, actually today, the 12th of February. This campaign's very short. It will only go through the 19th, so make sure you check it out and click the link in the show notes. As soon as we have a link to get you to the Kickstarter, we'll give that to you. In the meantime, head on over to their Facebook page and check it out. Next on the schedule, and I believe we're going to have the creator on the show. We've got to hurry and get things arranged, but it's Head Chef, the tabletop card game of food, fame, and fun. In this tabletop card game for 1 to 4 hungry players, you will cook food, earn fame, and become, you guessed it, the head chef. They are oh so close to their goal, less than $700 and some odd dollars away. So if you want to become the head chef and get a cool card game while you're at it, you might as well head on over and check out Peter's latest and greatest, Head Chef, the tabletop card game of food, fame, and fun that'll be on Kickstarter through Friday the 22nd of February. Next, I just recently sat down with the designer, one of the designers from this game, and I can't wait to release that interview. It will be in the near future, the very near future. I want to say next Thursday in the Hall of the Mountain King. If you don't want to miss this episode or any other episodes, make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcast catcher over it. Getting Geeky with Game Relief. But anyways, in the Hall of the Mountain King is a territory denial. That's right, territory denial. Not territory control, but territory denial. Cascading production, magic and muscle. It's an innovative game for 2 to 5 trolls that is easy to learn, but hides rich depths. They really surpassed their funding goal, and they're still going strong on Kickstarter for another 17 or so days, as this project will be on Kickstarter through the 28th of February. So definitely head on over and check out Burnt Island Games' latest in the Hall of the Mountain King, and stay tuned for our interview on Thursday. Next, we teased about this as a sponsor to the show, but 9 Lives, a card game for cat lovers, cat haters, and cat neutral people. Even dog people will love it too, as well as Leaves, as we did back this game. Just talking to the creators, it was awesome. And I believe you can find our interview with Ice, one of the designers, if you go check out update number 1. And you have a little bit longer to check out this campaign to be able to find this fun game and bring it to your tabletop, as the 9 Lives will be on Kickstarter through the 3rd of March. So definitely head on over and check out this game. Next, another one that looks awesome to me as well is Overlords of Infamy, Misery Loves Company, the jam-packed expansion to our flagship game, Overlords of Infamy. If I understand this correctly, Overlords of Infamy had one person being the hero, and everybody else played as Overlords of the Infamy. In this one, they add even another element and another player or whatnot. Somebody still bees the hero, somebody still bees, or more people be the Overlords. But in this one, it's kind of a semi-co-op. You're still going against each other. But somebody can also be the dragon. Sounds like a game Lady Leaf might love. She loves their dragons. So definitely check out Overlords of Infamy, Misery Loves Company. That'll be on Kickstarter through Friday the 22nd of February. Next is Kalakmal, 4 daring jungle dice games in a tin. Kalakmal, Who will be the next Maya ruler? Find out in the second Daring Dice games with a special Make 100 pledge level. It includes solo play, and they recently surpassed their funding goal. So they are funded after their campaign ends, and you still have through Thursday, the 28th of February, to check out Clackmole. 4 daring jungle dice games in a tin. So don't dilly-dally and see if you can become the next ruler. Next is one recently launched, and I believe we had the creator on. No, in fact we did. It was Alliance the card game. We talked to Cole all about it, but if you want to go ahead and check it out. In this game you battle in the fantasy world of Alliance. Simple to learn and play. It's a battle between armies to defeat your opponent's leader. It'll be on Kickstarter through Saturday the 9th of March. So go back and listen to my interview with Cole, and then head on over and check out Alliance the card game. And this last one, it really doesn't need an introduction, but it is one of our games featured here on Kickstarter Corner. It's Duels of Cartisora, 2-player, 6 warriors. A shotgun card game with 6 infamous warriors. Quick setup and play, a lifetime to sharpen your battle skills. I can't really do it justice, so I'm going to go ahead, and we now join myself as well as the designer and publisher of this game, already in progress.
Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
You enter into the pits of Cartisora with great trepidation. Your opponent is standing opposite you on the far side of the great sandy expanse, weapons brandished and brow furrowed. It looks like he's a worthy opponent, but you don't let your admiration show. You pull out your own weapon and let out a vicious, snarling cry. Only one of you will leave these pits alive, and that one will be you.
Did that sound familiar to you guys? It didn't to me neither, but this is a story of Duels of Cartisora, 2-player, 6 warriors, a new game that's currently on Kickstarter, coming to us once again from Analog Game Studios, and we're lucky enough today to have on both the designer as well as Richard, the publisher from Analog Game Studios. Is that correct? Is that how you guys fall in line with this? Both Jeremy and Richard, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. That's who we are.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us once again, Richard, and also thank you for joining us your first time here on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Jeremy, we really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem at all. Now, before we jump into everything that is great about you guys' new game, let's rewind a little bit, if we could, and if you guys could tell us how you got started into playing tabletop board game. Maybe we'll start with you, Jeremy, because people might have already heard from Richard if they've listened to any of the previous episodes. So how did you get started in the world of playing tabletop board games, Jeremy?
Well, I've been playing tabletop games all my life, playing and designing, actually. I was actually a video game designer before a board game designer. Played a lot of video games and was pretty active in the indie game scene. And then for the modern board games, I mean, my favorite, of course, is Settlers of Catan, and that's the one that really brought me back into that world. And I enjoy all of them, basically.
What board games are you playing these days, Jeremy?
These days, I've got a really fun game called Stratos, which is made by a guy in Hamilton. It's like a world battle game in a fantasy setting. 5-Minute Dungeons is also one we're pulling out now and then Settlers, of course, constantly.
Okay, yeah, we played 5-Minute Dungeon. I think me and my kids. I don't recall that we ever won. We may have won in my game group. Do you guys win or lose or both on 5-Minute Dungeon?
Oh, we made it all the way to the end. We beat the last boss.
Oh, there you go. That's pretty good.
Beat it with,
awesome.
We beat it with four people. We also beat it with 3 people, and I think our best time was like 3 minutes.
Perfect.
50.
Awesome. Do you ever have Richard come play with you?
I don't think we played that one before.
Oh boy.
I have not. No, I have not. But I do like to play Jeremy's games because they're really smart.
Well, there you go. Awesome. Now, per se, somebody hasn't listened to one of your previous episodes in which you came on, Richard. I don't know why they wouldn't have. Maybe they're new to the show. But now you have the floor. How did you get into the world of tabletop board games?
I mean, just as a kid, I played games because it was fun. I loved them all. I was into Mastermind and chess, the usual stuff at the time. I lived in Sweden, so I got to play a bunch of games that nobody's actually heard of in this end of the world. But after that, when I came to North America, played the usual stuff everyone else has.
Awesome. And what are you playing these days? You talked about playing Jeremy's games. Are those the games you're playing, or what else are you playing these days?
Well, I play a lot of other people's games that they design. They're unpubbed so far, so I go to a lot of play testing events and play their games, try them. They're a lot of fun. Published stuff. One of my favorites recently is a game called Wordsy. It's a local, local. He's upstate New York game designer, Gil Hova. I've one this just this past weekend, River Dragons. I just discovered Pandemic, and I love that one. And like Sushi Go, even I love that one. So I'll play any game as long as it's a casual game, it's a fun game, or a family game, or a party game.
Well, there you go. It sounds like you got a bunch of games to choose from just looking out there. And it doesn't Gil Hova, he just recently launched a new game on Kickstarter as well, I want to say.
Yeah, I heard that. I haven't taken a close look at it, but I know he's really, really active, and he's a super nice guy.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, probably you haven't got a chance because word on the street is you guys just recently launched a new game on Kickstarter. What can you guys tell us about Duels of Cartisora that's on Kickstarter right now?
Well, you have to have a battle mind in mind. You have to have a battle sense or a warrior nature. You have to want to fight. You have to want to win. Really, really doing anything that you can using your resources. And you have to do it even though your opponent might have tricks that you don't, but you have your own. And you have to know almost mathematically how you're going to prevail over your opponent. Don't you think that, Jeremy?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really quick to play game. It's basically both players get a deck of 12 cards and then quickly play against each other to see who wins. There's 6 characters in the deck, 6 unique characters with different abilities, and the game itself just takes like 5 minutes to play. So you can play again and again, best out of 3, best out of 5.
So, per se, we sat down to play the game. What's my turn going to consist of, or what does my turn look like?
So it's simultaneous play. Both players at the same time play a card face down and then turn it face up. And then you compare the cards to see what happens. A lot of the cards are number cards. And then in that case, the player with a higher number wins unless the numbers are exactly 1 away. If the numbers are exactly 1 away, then the lower number wins by undercut.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting mechanic.
That way, the highest card, 11, isn't invulnerable because it can be beaten by a 10. And the 10 will beat an 11, but not a 9. But anything lower, it'll win against.
Oh, wow. Have you seen a mechanic out there like that, or is this the first game it's been on?
As far as I know, it's unique and original. But and then each character also has 4 unique abilities. So they have the number cards from 2 to 11, and then each character also has 4 unique abilities. So not every character has every number because there's only 12 cards in a deck. And then the abilities could be things like lowering the opponent's power next round, or a reaction that causes the round to be a tie, or different ways of like this card only beats high cards but not low cards, etc.
Okay, so with it being asymmetric, you say every different faction has 12 cards specific to them, is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, and every character is a different warrior with a different theme and a different play style. And I tried really hard to make it so that every character just feels like the character. So Rilke the Destroyer feels like a brutal fighter that's with a hyper aggressive play style, whereas Sir Grayson the Knight has a very defensive passive play style. And all of that is expressed in the 4 different ability cards that each player has.
Okay, and I know this is like asking who your favorite child is, but do you have a favorite character amongst them?
I can't decide. Richard, do you have one?
What about yourself, Richard?
Oh yeah, no, totally. Rilke is my babe. She's the one.
Why is that?
She's just a super powerhouse, and she's got some awesome tricks. And I somehow, maybe because I played her more than others, I somehow figured her out, so I can win better with her.
Well, that's good. That's like on me on Super Smash Brothers. I can only play against my kids if I have who is it? Bowser available, I think. Otherwise, if they try to pick the same character as me, it doesn't fare too well, or I have to have that player. I can't really do anything. So I feel you, Richard.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times I still end up losing. But imagine that. So that's awesome. So asymmetric play. Now, do we get all 12 cards in our hand and we're doing hand management, or do we draw so many, or how's that look?
Yeah, that's right. All 12 cards are in your hand from the beginning. So yeah, and you get to choose what cards you play. You play every round, and you play through all 12 cards. So it's just about the order you play them in, and then like trying to fake out your opponent and guess what they're going to play when they're going to play it, so that your high cards beat their low cards, or your one lower cards beat their higher cards, and yeah, and that's most of what the game is, just sussing out your opponent and trying to bluff and counter bluff.
So just whoever's doing better after the 24 cards have been played, it wins.
That's right. Yeah, you count the number of cards that you've won. Plus, there's bonus tokens throughout the game. The first player to win a round gets the first blood token worth 2 points, basically worth 2 extra cards. And the person who wins the last round also gets 2 bonus points. And then every player also has a boast card in their deck, which is a low number worth 2 points. So that makes a little bit of counterplay at the lower numbers as well. So everyone has to like try to defend their weak card as well as trying to go after the opponent's weak card for those bonus points.
Okay, and you talked of rounds. How many rounds does it consist of?
Until both players run out of cards. So usually 11 rounds for the 12 cards.
Oh, okay. So each round consists of 2 people playing the cards. Okay.
That's right. Yeah, it's both players place their cards face down, then turn them face up, and then there's reactions and reaction cards that can be thrown in the middle. So usually the game is 11 rounds long.
Okay, awesome. And did you start with theme or with the game when you designed it?
With this one, I started with the base mechanic. I started by actually when I was a kid playing War. That's when I first came up with the idea of modifying the game of War to make it more exciting. So I came up with a lot of these mechanics back then of like seeing the cards when you play them face down, and maybe having ways of defeating the person's ace so that aces don't always win the game, etc. So with this one, it was really a mechanics first kind of design.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I really liked War as a kid. I always remember playing that for hours with my brothers and sisters. And then recently, it was probably last year, I think, some designer, Eric Shefferman, I think is his name. He came out with a game called Warmonger. I don't know if you've heard of that. Yeah, it was on Kickstarter for a while. We reviewed it as well. But it's War, and then it's also got it's pretty much War with abilities. So, but it doesn't have the same mechanic that you talk of, where if it's a number lower, it wins. I think that's pretty cool as well. So, how did the two of you get connected to figure out this was going to be the next game for Analog Game Studios?
I mean, we got connected at a playtesting event at 401 Games locally here. I was at the time actually testing out Centrix, Centrix. And Jeremy had this interesting card game on pieces of black and white paper, and they looked curious, and he explained it very quickly, and I fell in love with Rilka. I don't know, but she was awesome, and I won a couple of rounds, and it was fun. And then we kind of just maintained contact, and Jeremy got serious. He wanted to bring this to a Kickstarter, but there's a lot of work involved in doing that, like beyond just game design, obviously. And I said, hey, I want to be a publisher. I'm not that good of a game designer as you, Jeremy. So we just sort of thought this would be a good partnership, and got together on the basis of that. And then the key thing that happened next was the artwork, and there Jeremy came through really well. He found Max Gorgel. We looked at him and his style, and so not only does it have a really cool gameplay mechanic, but it has stunning art. And that's kind of the long story of how we got together and how we got to know each other.
Well, there you go. Now the question, maybe other people were wondering, did he let you win those 3 rounds?
No comment.
I didn't play him actually. No, I played someone else. There was just another playtester guy, and Jeremy just wanted to watch the game played. That's really like he was being an objective game designer guy who wanted to see, well, how do other
Okay, so it was a blind playtesting, is that right?
Um, well, I've been playtesting it for years. I think at that point it wasn't blind yet, but I was still just explaining and observing how other people were playing with the game.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think since then I've gone through maybe 20 iterations, not exaggerating.
So talking of those iterations, what was something you had to cut out because it just wouldn't work while you were doing the playtesting, Jeremy?
Well, I played around with like a lot of different characters. I have about 15 archetypes that are roughly planned out, and of those 15 archetypes, I had 9 fully fleshed out characters. And then from there, cutting down abilities that just didn't work or were confusing, that was a big thing. And then boiling down the good abilities that I had into the 6 best, most unique, and most interesting kits. That was a big part of it.
So does that mean we can expect more factions then?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I have 3 other characters ready to go, ready to work on the expansion right after this one launches. They're not thoroughly playtested yet, but yeah, they're in progress.
Okay, so they're not going to be thrown on us as stretch goals or add-ons, but they'll be later on down the road?
That's right. Yeah, once the base version is out, then I'm going to start really stress testing and playtesting these 3 new characters to make sure they're balanced, not only themselves and with each other, but with also every single one of the other characters.
Well, there you go. That's pretty cool. And how did you decide to get into designing games? Just you wanted to go further with war, or what was the inspiration into getting into designing games? Board games, I mean, because you said you were into video games. How did you make that transition over?
Right. Well, I mean, I've been a game designer all my life. Video games, playground games, all kinds of games. For board games, really, I started with a tabletop RPG idea that I was working on for maybe 5 years on and off, and that was like back in my teens, I guess, and that was really my first foray into tabletop. And then a while ago, there was a 2-page RPG contest that was put up, and this is a game that I worked on designing for that. And I submitted it, and they said, "Get out of here! This is not an RPG. This is a card game. What are you doing, submitting this to an RPG contest?"
Oh boy, was it the same game or something else?
Yeah, it was the same game in a much rougher form. So like it had characters and gameplay, but it didn't have a very robust story. So I decided after that, let me try developing this into a card game.
So maybe later on down the road, might we expect Duels of Cartisora, the role-playing game?
It's a possibility.
Oh boy, I guess we'll just have to stay tuned, huh? Awesome. Now, Richard, how do you go into these playtesting arenas or whatever you want to call them and win all these people's hearts over? Because it seems like you're just picking up game after game. Am I right?
Not quite, but yeah, I am looking for games, and I think some of the designers know that I'm interested. I have to play a game. I have to feel like I really love it, and then I usually talk to the designer and find out what their plans are. Like I'm not particularly pushy. I mean, at the time when I first played Jeremy's game, I was very interested in it, but it was like 6 months later until we finally decided that we would do this together. So yeah, I'm looking for games, but I'm patient.
Well, there you go. So it's got to be awesome to see everything coming to fruition that you guys have worked on through the year and years.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. No, it's very exciting actually. I mean, it's been a heck of a project. I mean, by the time we got into the artwork, which started around August of last year, that's when it started getting serious, and then all the prep work leading all the way up to this point where we just launched on Tuesday. It's a ton of work, but it is all fun.
That's awesome to be able to have a job and have it be fun or whatnot. So how do you guys know when it's ready to go to Kickstarter?
When the Kickstarter starts.
There you go.
I was iterating all the way up to the launch date, still trying to look at the mechanics, tweak them, getting people's advices and play tests. Lately, it's been a few minor wording issues that that I've been working on. What term should we call this game mechanic, and what term should we call that game mechanic? And I think once it starts to get down to that, like the little nitty gritty details, that's when your game's ready to go.
Awesome. And what about yourself, Richard? How do you know when it's ready to I guess not, you can't make sure, you never know for sure, but how do you know when it's ready to launch it on Kickstarter, marketing wise, and just from a business standpoint, I guess?
When you just run out of excuses not to do it.
There you go. So I guess you had no more excuses.
I didn't know. No, the game is...
So Jeremy kept coming at you, and you kept coming up with the excuses until this last Tuesday, I guess?
Not quite, no. I did believe in the game the whole time. I mean, the game it's a dynamic, asymmetrical match contest, right? Each character has its own personality, but Jeremy he's got a brilliant math mind. He's a mathematician, I think, in his head by his nature, and so he's got the balance of these totally different creatures or characters. Which he apparently he's built entire spreadsheets around it to make sure that it's solid, and that's really hard to do. You'd expect that one character would be the all-time winner, and you always play that one. Like Risk has a flaw. If you take Australia, you win, but this one is not like that, and I love that, and I love the idea that I can match up Rilka with Mercutio or with Daria or whomever. And I can do all these matchups and have 15 different matchups between the different characters. So the game is always changing. It's always a different game if you switch around to a different character deck.
Well, that's awesome. So it sounds like there's a lot of replayability. Now, my main anxiety in learning games and different games and getting them to the table is learning them. How long does it take to teach and learn this game, would you say, Jeremy?
Oh, it's super quick. The game itself plays in 5 minutes or less. Learning the game takes another 5 minutes or less. In my experience doing blind playtests, they pick up the rule book, fumble through the first game, and then okay, we got it. And then second game just flies right through.
Yeah, the rule book, it looks like it's only, I guess it's a couple pages, but it's just not too much scrolling, actually, when I go on the internet and pull it off of you guys' Kickstarter page. So yeah, it does look pretty easy, so that's cool to have a game like that. Now, when it comes to math, I love to do it on the paper, but then when it comes to gaming, my wife and kids seem to school me on something like that. But that's cool. So it just matters. I guess it's got that element of strategy because you got to know what you're going to play, but then you're also up against the other person's strategy. So it sounds like a really fun and awesome game. So that's pretty cool. Now, if somebody takes a chance on it, they like what they hear and whatnot. When would they anticipate, once the Kickstarter's successfully funded and we're done with the 10th of March when it is done being on Kickstarter, when would they anticipate getting their game so they can try to see if they're the best in Cartisora?
Okay, I can talk to that one. And what happens at that point is we go back to Max Gorgol, the amazing artist for this, and he will then have to design the 4 remaining characters. Now, mechanically and battle-wise, they're all ready to go, but they just exist as a single character form. He has to now design their character decks. That is probably going to take 6 weeks. Then we've got, we will go straight to manufacturing. I'd say give it a glitch phase of 2 weeks to make sure that they're happy with the print samples. Then after that, probably give them 2 months. Another 60 days to ship it over and then ship it to our backers. We're putting it at September of this year that at the very latest we should be able to ship out your game.
Okay, that's not too shabby. And it sounds like some people might be able to possibly go to dinner with you as well, Jeremy. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We got 2 offers on the table to take me out to dinner in Toronto. You have to come to me.
Oh, boy. Well, there you go. Awesome. And will you play the game with them as well, or it's just they going to feed you?
For sure, yeah. I'll take you out. I'll show you the game, give you some inside scoops on the strategies, and then we can talk shop.
And I imagine Richard's picking up the tab on that one?
Yeah, that's the plan. Exactly.
Oh, there you go. You'll have to make sure it's a pretty good dinner for you, Jeremy.
No, nowhere too expensive.
Oh yeah, not too expensive. Mainly, you want to focus on playing Duels of Cartisora, I
Yeah,
imagine.
that's right.
So there you go. Yeah, just get a sandwich or a salad or I guess whatever ends up happening. But you have to come to Toronto with them. So that looks like a couple cool. That's a cool pledge level. Plus, there's other pledge levels so they can get the game. I wanted to say there was one which I can get. Yeah, one copy, and then there's two copies. What other cool pledge levels are there? It looks like there's quite a few.
Yeah, you can get a poster, for instance, because the artwork is very pretty. So the poster of the Cartisora pits, where the battles take place of these gladiators. Or hey, you can get all the way into designing, how working with the artist to design a character card that to your taste, to how you would like them to be positioned, or
Yeah, we also have
And then like one and two
we
copies.
also have a designer feedback pledge level where I will critique your game, give it a thorough playthrough, and a thorough critique. So that's for other game designers.
Oh, there you go. So that's awesome. So that's pretty cool. Now, when it comes to Duels of Cartisora, what makes you guys' game pop and stand out as one my audience should go check out? And then if they like what they see, back it on Kickstarter.
The art is gorgeous. The replayability is forever. It is easy to learn, but in order to be a real master of the game, you're gonna have to play it 100 or more times.
And it's quick to pick up. You can play it anytime, anywhere. It's small and compact, and the character comes through in every single character. Really, you can play your character your way, and the play styles are just so different that it's a good way to get into a quick game.
Well, that's pretty cool. So anybody listening, make sure you go ahead and click that link that'll be in our show notes so you can go check out Duels of Cartisora that'll be on Kickstarter through Sunday the 10th of March. Now, mine is coming there to Toronto or Canada to stock you guys. How would people go about keeping up with different new games that you might have coming out, Jeremy, or games that might be coming out from Analog Game Studios in the future?
Well, for me personally, I always attend different game designer events around Toronto. The Snakes and Lattes game designer event is my favorite. So yeah, if you want to know more, come and hang out and check me out.
And can they find you online at all, or they have to come to the Snakes and Lattes to find you?
Unfortunately, I don't really have a good online presence quite yet. You can always email me at moshe.jeremy@gmail.com if you got any questions. But other than that, maybe that's about it.
Well, there you go. What about yourself, Richard? How do we go ahead and keep up with you guys, what you have going on?
Oh, well, we're everywhere on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, but our website is Analog Game Studios. And as soon as we sign a new game, we post it up, and we list it as either currently active or coming soon. So check out the website, Analog Game Studios. If you have any questions, just send a question in our form and we'll get back to you too.
Awesome. Now, I know we're focused on getting Duels of Cartisora funded on Kickstarter right now, but is there anything in your back pocket, maybe some insider information you could share with us of other stuff you have coming up?
Oh, sure. A biggie is a game that we're calling King of Indecision right now. It's a hex tile laying game. A king is, he wants stuff, he wants things, and you're a nobleman in his court and you've got to please him, but he changes his mind all the time. So you got to quickly collect all these things, and you get points for how well you do it against your opponents. And it's very hectic, but it runs about 40 minutes, and it's a lot of fun by another local Toronto designer called Joe Slack.
Oh, well, and is that so the AI or whatnot is the indecision one? Because I was worried you were talking about me if I start playing it because I really suffer from analysis paralysis.
No, it's not so much. There's not so much analysis paralysis in it. You just have to think quickly, and you got to watch what your opponents have, how much they've gathered by way of gold and other treasures that the king is looking for. But you got to be ready. He changes his mind, and you don't know when that's going to be. That's just kind of the draw of the card when it comes up.
Well, that sounds pretty fun. Do we have any anticipated dates on that one?
We're gonna hopefully showcase that one at a local conference called Breakout Con here in March 15, 16, 17, and then go for a Kickstarter. I'm thinking April or May. So yeah, that's the time frame.
Awesome. And they can go ahead and keep up with you as well by backing Duels of Cartisora, or they can follow you on Kickstarter as well. Is that right, Richard?
Totally, yeah. We're out there and we're very visible. So please do and back us. That's definitely what we're looking for at this point. Yes.
Well, there you go. And we'll make sure we leave all the links in the show notes so they can easily get there by clicking through. But we don't want to keep you guys all night, but we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf with me to talk all about Duels of Cartisora, 2 players, 6 warriors.
Awesome. Thanks for having us there, Blake. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. We really appreciate it. I always love sitting down with Richard and to find out what the latest game he has and talk to him and the designer. If you liked any of these games, especially this one, go ahead and click on our link on our show notes to head on over and show your support to these designers or game producers, as well as Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf. Everything helps. While we're talking about games and stuff that is on Kickstarter and ways to show your support to them, as well as Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, why not head on over and check out our campaign that's currently on Kickstarter? It's Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf podcast season number 3. We've already have over 300 plus episodes for you. With your help, we'd like to provide greater content and expand what we already do. There's some exciting things coming to you from Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf come March. Going to dive back into some of our roots. Plus, we've already surpassed the goal to get video of Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf. Help us get it so we can have the kids come on. Go ahead and check out our stretch goals. They're at the very top of our page so you can see them easily. But we need your help. If you're a publisher or anything like that and you want to sponsor episodes, there's great options for you. If you want to get the episodes without Kickstarter Corner or sponsors, there's options for you as well as having us review certain games so you can have us try them before you buy them. All kinds of great options. And if you have an option you'd like that's not on there, let me know. Actually, one of the backers suggested one or two of the options, and those have been our most popular. So there's also that. Plus, help us come up with some fan-based stretch goals. But anyways, check out Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf podcast season number 3 on Kickstarter. Like usual, we want to encourage you to get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others into Geekfold. And like usual, we will catch you guys on the flip side. Gamer Leaf out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.